Hi, my name is Drusilla.
Hi, my name is Mariska.
And we are from Troop 10374 of the Nine-Pen Pathways Council.
And we're doing the Manhattan Project patch from the Girl Scouts of Eastern Washington, Northern Ohio. Idaho. I read that wrong. Oh my god. So there is 3 booklets that you could do about Hanford, Los Alamos, and Oak Ridge. We only did 2 of them, but there is 3 that you could do. Okay. Coolio.
Answer the questions first on the sheet.
We only did the Los Alamos and Oak Ridge one. We did not do the Hanford. So, what does the term secret city mean? Because this is all about the secret cities. At least one of mine was. And why were they secret? Secret city means like a closed city. Like it's like secret, you know? And they were secret, at least, they were secret because they were building an atomic bomb. Don't make atomic bombs.
One girl got investigated by the FBI for making one for a science project. Don't do it.
Don't do it! Cool. Would you like to answer your question now?
I did. Okay, so during World War II, women were a significant impact to science and the nation. And when World War II happened, basically all the men left for the armed forces, so all the jobs needed to be filled. So women ended up filling in those roles. And basically a lot of women had to become self-sufficient. And many filled in like the white and the blue collar jobs that men left behind, such as munitions workers, constructions, steel, governmental, and agricultural. And 350,000 women served in the military, mostly as naval intelligence and nurses.
Good.
And with the naval intelligence thing, with all the women that worked that, and like their male counterparts, the heads actually gathered them in a room, and this is an account from one of the women that worked that said, if you talk about anything that happened, if you talk about what you're doing in your job, we legally have the right to shoot you. So that's how top secret that stuff was.
Cool. So, and also about the Girl Scouts specifically, a lot of times they sold war bonds. They held like scrap drives for like clothing and things. They made victory gardens. They worked for families like babysitting while their parents were at work. And they also helped a lot on farms and basically where they were needed. If jobs that they could do needed filling, they filled them. Cool. I will do mine first. So we did 2. We each did 1 for the booklet. I did the one about Oak Ridge for the Oak Ridge site.
And what did you guys say what this is about?
It's about the Manhattan Project.
The bombs.
Pew pew. Basically what they did on the Manhattan Project is that they were building an atomic bomb to go bomb people in Japan.
A little boy.
If you didn't catch the memo. So, this was about the Oak Ridge site, which was down in, Tennessee. That's where it was. And, all of them played a unique part, all 3 of these, in a crucial role of the Manhattan Project. So, specifically the Oak Ridge site, otherwise known as... I wrote all this stuff down. Oh my god. Let me read through my stuff. So, a whole bunch of people moved their houses, because either their houses got destroyed, or they just moved for safety. And before it was called Oak Ridge, it was also known as Site X. And then they just started call it Oak Ridge, because that's a lot less secretive calling it Oak Ridge. And hold on, let me keep going. Reading through my stuff. And the whole thing was to develop an atomic bomb. And one of the main things that they did in the secret city was, what a lot of the women did is that they sat and they watched, they monitored the separation of uranium, which was very important to them, and which that was called the Calutron, I think is how to pronounce it, Calutron, which they just sat in cubicles and they just watched it separate the uranium to see if anything went wrong, that they could do it. They have some pictures in the booklet. This is what it looked like, them doing it. Pretty nice. Yeah. And they had, so that was a lot of the women did that, a whole bunch of them did. There was 10 cities. There was 10 schools in Oak Ridge for all of the children. And actually one of those elementary schools you could go visit, which it was turned into a museum for children. And there's parts in it. It has a whole bunch of stuff in it. There's parts in it that are more like museum-like and less like, because it's a children's museum. It's more like an actual museum for like the older kids. It has parts from Oak Ridge in it. It's pretty cool. Never been. I was just reading about it. And, like, kids went to school. A lot of education was dropped during it because of having to move in there. And their whole thing was, I forget what the motto was, but the whole thing was, I think it was something along the lines of, loose talking helps our enemies, so keep your mouth shut. Something along that line, and that was their whole motto in Oak Ridge. Now you get to talk about your stuff.
So the fact that I did was about Los Alamos, and this was located in New Mexico. And well, the Manhattan Project, got the name because of where it started, Manhattan, in case that wasn't obvious. And the town of Los Alamos was built in 1943. And what happened was that Los Alamos was already, like a town, and a lot of the people there were either kicked out of the town, or the civilians or the local civilians that stayed there had to be able to pass very intense security clearances, and they were issued passes to basically stay where they were living already. And many of these people performed construction, maintenance, housekeeping, and other like lower level services. And, another place where they helped, build the bomb. Let's see here. Robert Oppenheimer and General Leslie Groves were the big leaders of the Los Alamos location. And what women did at Los Alamos, they performed important work in communications, purchasing supplies, and transmitting scientific data in top secret environments. So, very secretive stuff. Now,
Super spy.
and the kids, they had schools, and they also had to have passes to live there. Like there is one that has an ID card, and I can't find which paper it's on.
It's on a paper, though.
It's on one of the papers. Still ain't it.
Nope, not on that one either. Nope. Oh,
there it is.
Found it!
There it is. This is an actual photo of one of the ID cards one of these kids had to carry.
That's fun.
So what did they do in this city? The other one, they watched uranium separate. What did these people do?
I already said that.
What?
They did communications.
Oh, communications. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
And kids, did regular kids things, but obviously they couldn't really tell people outside of the town. So, and everybody's location and jobs had to be secret. So this is obviously in the days, where telephones really weren't all that common.
No problem.
So you had to. So a lot of people communicate through writing letters. So a lot of these people were very isolated from their families.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Los Alamos was also located on ancient Pueblo lands, which is where a lot of the people that were already living there, they're descendants of the Pueblo, and you can go there and visit it, and you can see the foundations of ancient Pueblo homes.
Cool.
Go visit some of these places.
So what's the third site that you guys didn't do?
Hanford,
which is in Washington State.
Yes, it's this lovely packet. We just printed it off for looks. Yeah. So it had a lot of the same things about what it's about and what they're doing.
So
They also helped build the stuff. Hold on, I'm trying to look.
well, they have a reactor there, right?
Yes, I think so.
They have a virtual tour on the website that the girls couldn't get to work.
No. They turned a small village into a secret city there. And they called it Richland.
Good.
Yeah. Called it Richland.
So, but we didn't end up dropping the atomic bomb. Did they ever make the atomic bomb? Did they actually make?
Yeah, they were testing sites just outside of. They were testing sites. They were testing sites just outside of Los Alamos at the Trinity site.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we obviously did not bomb Japan with the atomic bomb, did we? Or did we?
Nagasaki. It was Nagasaki.
So we did drop the bomb.
Yes. Did you not go to a basic history class?
Well, you have to tell the kids. They don't know.
Yeah. We dropped bombs on Japan during the Second World War.
And it really wasn't all that necessary because it was more of an intimidation tactic, as at that point in time, the current emperor of Japan was already planning to write the means for surrender, which is very big for Japan because they don't surrender for nothing.
So some things about the wound, because now I'm reading it. because they have lovely blurbs of info on here. For the women's in Hanford, 9% of the workforce, women made up 9% of the workforce and 1% of the supervisors. And Dr. Jane Hall, a physicist, a woman, supervised the building of the B reactor. And she was one of the few female supervisors at Hanford. And Dr. Leona Woods Marshall Libby, she has a long name, was the only female scientist at Hanford. But most Hanford women worked traditional women's jobs, which are nurse, teachers, secretary, clerks, food service workers, and maids. But some also worked as lab technicians and lab assistants. So a lot of these worked in the lab stuff. They actually, did things.
So Hanford's like the big site, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All right. That's interesting. I didn't know anything about that Manhattan Project whatsoever.
No, you asked if you dropped bombs.
Wow.
We built bombs and we dropped them on Japan. Because we were afraid that they were going to drop another bomb on us.
Now, did they have something similar in Japan? Were they actually trying to build an atomic bomb?
Well, they kind of bombed Hawaii.
I mean, they already kind of did.
They kind of bombed Hawaii, and that's what
Yeah, but was it with an atomic bomb, or was it just...
No, it wasn't with an atomic bomb. The U.S. was the first to make an atomic bomb, and it wasn't in Japan, but I know that the Nazis were very, very close to finishing one by the time that the World War ended.
So, we went off of just theories and word that our enemies might have been building one, so we built one faster.
As we do. As we do.
So,
all right.
Yes.
There you go. Manhattan Project. Interesting.
History.